see right here. So in our action script we can say blue underscore btn dot add event with a capital E listener with a capital L open curly brace mouse event dot click all caps comma, and now give it a name, like for example your listener needs a name, so it should be something like blue clicked closing parenthesis semicolon. Copy this line and change blue to red, and here as well, so you have red clicked. So if you have these two event listeners and you run right away, you will have an error because they are listening for functions that don't exist. And what functions are, they are basically a piece of code that do something for you. But in this case you don't have to understand functions in order to use this. So let's just, if you don't know what I'm talking about, just follow me and you'll understand it later on. So just write function, and after you write function, specify the name you have given here. So let's just start with blue clicked. Copy that and paste it, open parentheses, type E colon mouse event, and this is from this line right here. If this was something else, you had to give that other property, but in this case it's mouse event. This could be event if we were not interacting with the mouse, but we are interacting with the click of the mouse, so it's a mouse event in this case. So you say colon mouse event, and now you can close the parentheses and type another colon and say void. Now void means that this function is not returning anything, but we will get into that later on, so don't worry about that. Just put it there and it will work. So open and close curly braces and make some space there, and copy everything you just made, and below this last curly brace paste it again and change blue clicked to red clicked. So now that we have both of the functions, we actually can interact with the buttons over here, but we don't really have anything to interact to. So we are going to create a variable just like we learned in our last tutorial. Just say var score and then data type it to number and say is equal to 0, and then right below that say score underscore txt, and this is the name of our text field, as you can see in here. Score dot txt dot text is equal to score semicolon. So what am I doing in here? I'm setting the property text of the text field. So I'm saying the text of this text field is equal to the value of score, but this text property is expecting a string of a value, and I'm giving it the value of number. So if you remember with the boxes, you can't put a number into a string box. So what do? Well, you have to convert the number into a string, and it's really easy to do that actually. You just say the data type you want it to convert to, like for example I want to convert this score into a string. Now I just say string open parenthesis, and at the end of the variable I say close parenthesis. So I just wrap the variable I want to convert into the parentheses of this string. So now Flash will recognize this score as a string. So what I want to do next is increase the value of score when the button of blue and red are clicked, and in case of red I want to decrease it. So let's just go ahead and test if this works. As you can see, we have 0 in our text field, and if you look here we have nothing in it. So that works. Now let's just increase it. So if we say if whatever I type in this function, so whatever I type between these two curly braces will happen when the blue button is clicked, because this is listening for the blue button click. As you can see, if I change it to red button, it will listen to the red, and if I had a green button and I write it in instance names in here, it will work on that button, or a movie clip. It doesn't matter. This is a click event, and it works when it's clicked. Anyway, so let's just say score plus equals 10 semicolon, and let's just copy this line, copy and paste it in the red button function, and instead of plus let's just say minus. So you might be thinking, okay, I have the score variable and I set it equal to, I set the text of my text box equal to a stringed value of score, so I'm all set. Well, you're not. So if I save and test this, and I say I click the blue button and the red button, you can see nothing is happening. Well, that's because you set the values equal to the variable, I mean the text field value of text. You're setting these equal to the score in here. So imagine Flash is running this program, and it's like starting from here, it's going into these two event listeners and going down here and creating this variable, and then it's putting this equal to the variable, so it becomes 0, and then it's coming here and it increases the score value. But what it does not do is put the text of the text field equal to the increased value of score. So this is happening only once when it's 0, but it's not happening when it increases. So what we need to do is we need to say this line, copy and paste it below here and here as well. And now if we save this, Control Enter to test it, and if I click the blue one, you can see it increases, and if I click the red one, you can see it decreases, and it can go below 0 as well. So in our next tutorial we will actually limit this number from going below 0 and below a certain value that's too high, and that will be your basic introduction to conditional statements. But for now, just practice with this, and I'll see you in the next tutorial.